Good afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here, for clicking on the video, showing up, stopping by, coming on in, wiping your feet at the door before you came in. You can leave your shoes there as well. Got some beer in the fridge. Just kidding. There is no beer at all in the house because I don't know what people drink. Anyways, there's water for you with some ice. Let us go ahead and listen to Ladra. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. We're going to listen to this performance from originally from Giochino Rossini. I'm going to be messing up a lot of words here. I hope I'm getting it right. We're listening to this because it was recommended and sponsored by John. So John, thank you so much for the recommendation for this one. This particular version we're going to be listening to is conducted. Think of my right C words. Conducted by Leonard Bernstein. And this is going to be with the New York Philharmonic as well. So just want to make sure I got the information right. Let's go ahead and dive into it. I think that I have heard Il Barbiere de Sevilla. I think that I covered that over on JPMP many years ago. I think the Barbiere of Sevilla, I'm pretty sure. But this particular piece, not familiar with it. So let's go ahead and pull it up. We'll talk about it a little bit after. Here we go. It scared me. It's loud. Actually scared me. I love when it goes from the big to the keep coming down. The snares keep it moving. Some drama. Those snares give it the perfect movement. You can always follow it. It's kind of heavier and darker. Right? Whether the snares are there or not, it's always playing in that rhythm to an extent. It's like a military march or a military parade. I like how that's the intro, and now it's this is almost like the verse. It's like it gives pause and then starts over again. These violins are quick. Horns add a lot of drama. It would be really fun to be the drummer on this piece of music. Right back to that. This part sounds familiar. This part. I don't know where I've heard it, but I've heard this part. Maybe in like a Bugs Bunny cartoon or something. It's like a penny whistle or something. This is such a memorable melody. I remember this. Like how the snare was here and then it was over here. Fast roll. Right back to this part. That was a great transition. I didn't even notice how seamless that was. I like how dramatic it gets, and then it just comes back to this. Like so fanciful. Two flutes, maybe? It's kind of silly, right? Maybe it's because I'm just thinking of cartoons listening to this. It's coming back around for one more, I'm imagining, big send-off. It's rising. There you go. Triangles. Listen to the snare with that string, it's so intense. Right back to this. Still going. stepping to the end. Don't laugh at me, but the same way that it began and it scared me with the snares, I didn't expect the final hit at the very end. I thought it was going to end, so the last one actually caught me off guard. Okay, this is such a colorful piece of music. It's dramatic. It kind of feels silly and cartoonish, and maybe that's just because the one melody that I did recognize in here was in the middle section that I mentioned, where it's and then that part. I can't tell you where I've heard it, but I'm pretty sure that I probably heard it watching Looney Tunes cartoons when I was a kid, and they always featured classical music and stuff like that in the background. I'm 98% sure that's where I've heard that particular section. But as a whole, I have definitely not heard this. But it's so fun how contrasting it is between those big marching kind of sounds, and like I said, it sounds to me like a big grand military parade, or probably more so a royal ceremony of sorts, because it's grand, it's big and royal, and it just feels like showing off, like haha, look at us, right? Dignified and big. And then all of that goes away, and it goes right. It goes back into these little subtle, like, silly is not the right word, but like lighthearted. That's a better word. A more lighthearted kind of melody, and it's like completely removed from all the majesty and the grandeur of those previous sections. But it still plays in a relatively fast, kind of flittery moment, right? Like those notes, the even though they're quieter and much more softer than the big moments, it's still played fast. Those big moments, when they get into it, they're played big, but they're also played fast. So that fast part, that theme, kind of keeps and continues through the whole piece of music. This kind of balances it out. Also, they keep on returning to like the bigger moments. I love that big grandeur part that it returns to several times there in the end. It's just a nice way of wrapping it all together in this nice package. And this is going to perhaps sound silly, but I think you'll know what I mean when I say this. I don't have a lot of knowledge when it comes to music like this, so keep that in mind. This sounds like the pop music of classical music, because it really does distinctly feel, much more accessible. It has a structure to it that's like immediately noticeable. It has not literally, of course, a verse, chorus, but it does have those verses, those choruses, those returning motifs that kind of act in the same or a similar way. It's very easy to follow. Like, how like when we listen to classical music here on the channel, sometimes I'll say, especially when it's like 30, 40, 50 minutes long, it's a lot to take in. I mean, truly, it's a lot to take in on a first listen. Whether I liked it or not, it's just a lot. This feels like a single. This feels like a pop single that's immediately catchy, immediately gets stuck in your head, and is very accessible. So I like this a lot, though. The snare, whoever's playing the snare in anyone, any rendition of this is probably having a blast. Sometimes the percussionist gets relegated to just hitting the timpanis here and there, and the crashes here and there. But like just in those big moments, here, completely active. Now, just Googling some information here, so we can read about this a little bit. I always feel like there's like a cat hair in my nose. Let me pull this up here. This looks like a good little blurb. Gioacchino Rossini was an early and prolific composer, the son of working musicians. He knew that composition was his bread and butter, and he made the most of it. All right, let's read about this one. Rossini's was not hack work. Indeed, he's single-handedly responsible for raising the artistic level of comedic opera at a time when the form had become stale. In 1817, he stood at the crossroads between his comic and serious writing. Ladra, or The Thieving Magpie, is one of his last comic works, and its tale is one that is more tragic than humorous. It's based on a true incident well known to Rossini's audiences, in which a French servant girl was executed as a thief only to be exonerated after her death when it was discovered a magpie had stolen the items she had been accused of taking. That must be, like, I see obviously like the tragic more than humorous. I can almost see that being like a dark comedy. The thieving magpie. Wow. That event led to a general European denouncement of the death penalty for crimes of theft. In the opera's versions of events, young Ninetta is accused of stealing a silver spoon, but due to circumstances cannot prove her innocence without exposing her father, an army deserter, for a crime which he too might get the gallows. In the nick of time, it is discovered that a pet magpie is the real culprit, them birds, but only after a dramatic scene in which Ninetta must choose whether to sacrifice her father's or her own life. The emphasis on the essential tragic nature of comedy was a bit risky for Rossini. The French writer Henri Stendhal, who would later publish a biography of the composer, wrote at the time that Rossini had done 5 operas that he always copies. La Gazza Ladra is an attempt to break out of the circle. The gamble paid off and the opera was a success both at its opening that year in Milan and elsewhere in Europe. And of course, you get a little description of the piece itself, you know, the pomp, the pathos, the humor, the roles. Yeah, first loud. Yeah, because that loud part really got me. And then following that, bringing to images of military, sound of drums as a prisoner is led to the gallows. So that gallows part is probably where it gets kind of very quiet and a little bit more ominous. Introductory march, and then goes on in there. Here, Rossini employs a technique he used so often that musicians today still refer to it by his name, the long, slow building Rossini crescendo that grows inexorably in volume and in tempo over many measures. That's that very, very final part where I even said it's building towards something. After stating his final theme at a rather reserved pace and dynamic, Rossini employs his patented crescendo not once but twice, each time building to an ever more energetic climax. That was good. And now, kind of reading the story that it's based on, now I can really clearly picture those events happening. You know, the accusation, the leading to the gallows, and the marching. That all makes sense. Because I was really thinking more of a parade of sorts, but it was definitely a parade, but a gallows parade, and probably not the one you want to be involved in right there. So, anyways. Thank you, John. I appreciate the recommendation. Appreciate the support as well, of course. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. You can leave those down there. Press the like button before you leave, if you don't mind. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Watch out for magpies. Watch out for troublesome birds, because those birds, they may be mocking you. Please clap. At least a 2 out of 5 for that one. At least. You gotta give it to me.